felt like a bit of a psychological experiment. Are you the weak ones?
It's unachievable and unmaintainable, I think. They're getting higher marks, so maybe I'm supposed to look like that to get better marks.
I will never make it in the sport if I have that kind of attitude. I always had a massive fear about gaining weight. Like, everyone was worried about weigh day. Like, people started like starving themselves the night before. I guess it might be the national medals back in the day.
At the age of 14, Phoebe qualified for her first GB swimming event, but it wasn't until after she left the sport she realised the damage it was doing to young athletes.
When I was 15, I competed at European Juniors. Someone was talking about like getting some chocolate after, and I got like quite a big lecture on the bus in front of everyone on the team about how I will never make it in the sport if I have that kind of attitude. We were kind of tested a lot that week, so they put chocolate cake out and see who would eat it. And then we were told back in the meetings later that it was all a test and that they know who ate the cake and know who went for the fruit. Everything amplified when I moved to Plymouth College, yeah.
Phoebe then went on to attend Plymouth College on a swimming scholarship, where extreme criticism and rituals led her to battle bulimia for 5 years.
Before I went there are some athletes that had coaches living in the house. So when they went to school, they'd check their bedrooms and check for biscuits and check for chocolate and put them in the bin or out them when they came back from school. Back in my day, it was very much like tough love to get to the top. And if you couldn't handle it, then you weren't strong enough to be an Olympic swimmer. If I wasn't prepared for a competition, it was heavily revolved around the fact I was a few kilograms heavier than what I should be. It felt like you were like being monitored 24/7. It became like an obsession. Like, it's all you think about, because I think it's all you're being told.
Since the Swim England's investigation into the club, a statement from Plymouth Leander was released claiming the culture is very different now. It said, "It is very sad and disappointing that swimmers have had to go through this, and I hope those affected have been able to get all the support they need. The welfare of our swimmers is absolutely paramount." But swimming wasn't the only water sport which was putting its athletes under scrutiny.
Previous years before the rule change, there was a massive emphasis on aesthetics and hitting a certain kind of look. You know, they wanted people to be literally Victoria's Secret supermodels, like tall, stick thin.
It's unachievable and unmaintainable, I think, in a sport to like look like that or be like that for the whole season.
I was always quite conscious of the coaches making comments at other swimmers or saying, you look like this, you've done this, you've changed like this. So I think from quite young, I was quite conscious of it, even if it wasn't directed at me.
There's certain countries that you definitely end up comparing yourself to and thinking like, oh, am I supposed to be looking like that? Or is that, they're getting higher marks, so maybe I'm supposed to look like that to get better marks. So I would say, yeah, like going to my first international competitions around like 13.
I wanted to find out why this was so normalised in water sports in the past.
Hello, you're all right, Hannah?
So who better to speak to than the lead Swim England sports psychologist?
In the 90s, like what swimmers were like was not necessarily like the six pack. And then it kind of became a thing. And so all of a sudden it was like, well, you're a swimmer, you must have a six pack. Didn't always make sense because muscle's quite heavy. And so do we actually even want that for a swimmer? We went through this phase in sport where there was like one body type to be an athlete. And there's a lot of unlearning that has to be done from our generations above, but it takes like, 4 years of work to undo the one comment when they were 14.